So you clicked on this video because you want to know how a copywriter thinks and what's the actual mindset of a copywriter. And my definition of what a copywriter is and the main job as a copywriter is to understand the audience better than they do themselves. So this is actually how a copywriter should think. They should always have the lenses of the audience world. They should see the audience world through the audience eyes. So this is what you have to think about every time you write copy for a specific audience. And my version of this is a bit different formulated, but my version is to help the audience understand the world through a different perspective, because the audience's problem derives because the audience has a certain view of the world. But if you are able to change the view of the world, the perspective that the audience has around their own life and their world view, then you'll be able to give them a solution to the problem, because now they can see the problem from a different perspective. So when we work as copywriters, as we just mentioned, we need to know how to understand our audience and what parts of our entire audience overview we should focus on. And I'm gonna list the most important stuff right now, because if you are able to understand your audience, they will want to buy from you and not from the competition, because you have actually shown them that you understand who they are and what the problems is. So the first part of understanding your audience is what's the main area or topic that the audience is interested in. So, for example, if you have an audience that so what I mean about the area or topic that the audience is interested in is because people have certain interests and have problems in different fields of life. So if someone has a good physique, is in good health, their problem is not their fitness goals and their physique. Therefore, you should not target that group, because they've already solved the problem, unless there derives a problem from the solution that they have or the result that they've gotten. So if you let's take an example. We can say that a audience, their main topic is to get better at understanding AI systems, because in the modern world of technology, this is a key skill and something that is very important to know something about. So you have to define what the topic is. Is it in AI? Is it in fitness? Is it in self-improvement? When you have defined that, then you can move on to the next thing, which are the audience a cold, a warm, or a hot audience. And what I mean is, do the audience know? Is the audience aware of you as a company and with your solution? If they are not aware of anything about you as the company and the solution, if they're not aware of those things, then they are defined as a cold audience. And with cold audiences, you often have to, in your copy, have more convincing arguments to persuade them into buying from you, because they don't know anything about you yet. The second is a warm audience. A warm audience has some level of knowledge about your company that you are working for, or just that there are a solution out there that can solve the problem. They are, if those two things are a part of this audience, then they'll be categorized as a warm audience, and you won't have to do as much convincing, but you'll still have to like differentiate your company from the other companies, because then they won't know what what your solution offers differently from the rest of the competition. And the last one is the hot audience. This is an audience that might already have bought from the company that you're writing copy for. And if so, then you can get way more straight to the point than you could with the two other audiences. And this audience wants way more specific things that so with the hot audience, you just have to be way more direct in your copy. So now you have to identify the first two things, and that's the topic that the audience wants to know more about, or are interested in, or have a problem in. And the second is how well do they know your company, and therefore are they a cold, warm, or a hot audience. Then we're moving on to the next thing, which is what are the main experiences of the audience related to the problem and the topic that you're writing about. Let's take an example with a audience that wants to get a result, get more results in fitness. If they are just starting out, they might have experiences like they feel like it's hard to go to the gym because it's too daunting of a task to even step your foot inside of the. It could also be that they have experiences about feeling ashamed of their own body because they might be overweight. They might not look as good as their peers. Those are like things that they have experienced in the life that relates to this. And from those experiences that the audience has gotten throughout their lives, there will come certain problems because of these experiences. And I think about three main types of problems, and those are external problems, internal problems, and philosophical problems. So for the external problems, I define an external problem as a problem that can be defined in a certain number, a certain sentence, or something that people from the outside can see as well. So let's just take an example that explains this a little bit further. If we have the same guy as before that wants to get fitter, who are interested in fitness and getting some first results in their physique, an external problem could be that they are being body shamed from the peers. That's something an outsider could observe as well. It could also be that the external problem is that they want to lose 10 kilos of belly fat. That's something specific that everyone can see and that everyone can define as the problem. And those external problems are the most shallow level of a problem. See, a problem problems can have multiple layers in between. The deepest problems that you can have are the ones that are the most emotionally driven problems, and those are the ones that create a term called visible desire in the audience, and is also going to differentiate you as the company even more than with shallow level problems like external problems. The next problem is the internal problem, and in the name you might already know that it's something that happens inside the audience or inside the person you are writing to. So internal problems are the problems that derives from the external problems and the experiences. So let's take the same example with the fat guy, and if he has been ashamed of his body, which is the experience, and wants to lose 10 kilos of belly fat, which is the external problem, then the internal problem might be that he does not like how he looks, he feels bad about himself, he wants a change in his life because he does not want to look like someone that are too overweight, and he wants to be more like his peers. Therefore, this is something that happens inside in the mind of the audience, and this is not something that you as an outsider can see just from the naked eye. The final one is the philosophical problem. And the philosophical problem is a problem that is a bit similar to the internal problem, but there's a twist here, because the philosophical problem is the deepest problem that you can have as a person, as an audience. And the key word in philosophical problems is dualities. A duality is like two opposites of each other. An opposite might be black or white. It could be rich or broke. It could be strong or weak. There's basically an infinite amount of dualities that you can play on. And dualities create a identity belief for the audience. So the audience, because of the philosophical problems, create their identity based on those or that problem, which is the philosophical problem. So when you are writing the philosophical problem in your copy, always think about where are the audience right now, and who do they want to be like, or what do they aspire to be, or who do they want themselves to become. Let's again take a guy that wants to get some results in fitness. The external problem was that he wants to lose 10 kilos of belly fat. The internal problem was that he wanted to be more like his peers and not be ashamed of himself. And the philosophical problem is that he does not want to be the kind of guy that is overweight and is lazy and is fat. He wants to be the guy that's outgoing, who's fit, who's happy, who is attractive to other people, and are getting compliments, positive compliments from his peers and friends. Those are the three problems for this audience that we've just created. And when you can define all three types of problems and use them in various different ways in your copy, then you will get the most out of your audience, and you will likely be able to increase the sales of the company you are writing for. And then finally, in our audience understanding, as our audience overview, what solution, what benefit would fit the audience best based on the problems and experiences that they have. So if you, for example, have someone that, if you take the same example again with the fat guy that wants to lose weight, his solution, the best solution for his type of problems might be different from someone that is more experienced in fitness and maybe needs something else because he has other different problems, like external, internal, and philosophical problems. Therefore, you should always you should always twist and brand your product in a way that fits that specific audience the best possible. So that's basically how you should think about your audience understanding before you start the actual work as a copywriter, which is writing it all out. But in nowadays you have a pretty good tool that you can use to further detail this description of the audience, and you can also use this tool to leverage your work even more, so you can get even better understanding in less time from your audience. And as this book might imply, how AI thinks, you might have already guessed it, but you can also use AI to help understand your audience better and in less time. And normally I use ChatGPT for doing this exact process, but you can also use Gemini and Grok and all the other AI softwares out there. But the main thing is that you use AI to your advantage when you are just starting to figure out who this audience actually is. And when you use AI, you just have to be a bit careful that you won't overuse it, which is something that I've done myself before. Because if you overuse AI and don't think creatively and constructively yourself, the output and the results that you will produce will just be quite generic compared to if you actually make a twist to the AIs. So just be careful when you use AI, but it will seriously be a incredible tool for your copywriting journey when you just get started out. So this was actually the entire video. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope that you will want to watch more content from me in the future. And as always, you can follow me on Instagram, and I will be very grateful if you also subscribe to the channel. And I'll just see you in the next video. Peace.